Tim, welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. As we continue to work our way through the 2018 Bell & Ross catalog, today we're discussing the Bell & Ross Instrument Series BR0394-HERI-CE, a matte black ceramic what-if watch. That is, what if the Bell & Ross Instrument Series, launched in 2005 and in 42mm as the BR03 for 2007, had been made 50 years prior? Well, this watch gives us some insight into that what-if historical scenario. Now you'll note that the watch is 42mm as the BR03s are a little bit more compact, and on my 16cm circumference wrist it's a perfect fit. It wears 42mm square, and you can easily see that because of the flat and regular shape of the case, it sits securely and comfortably with no pressure points or hot spots. It's also relatively slim. Though it has a tall, sheer appearance about its case flank, it's only 13mm thick, so you should have no trouble slipping it underneath a sport jacket or blazer cuff. Now, lug to lug, you're going to find the measurement is 51.4mm, so it sits securely, and at the same time, it's not too broad. That thanks to the short-cropped, stubby, and highly functional lugs of the watch. They drape the strap over the case flank, and they visually taper around the wrist. Now the strap is full width, as you can see. 33mm is the spacing from lug flank to lug flank, so it's nice and broad. Not only does it look quite coherent on the wrist, but because of the broad strap, the watch stays highly planted on the wrist. It is a thick, sheer-cut piece of calfskin with a light brown top and a delicately contrasting stitch in vintage aviator's fashion. You will note that the underside is a minimally treated calfskin for souplesse against the skin, and just as there is a Bell & Ross corporate ampersand logo on the bottom, so too is there one on the top. Let us not forget that though proficient in engineering, Bell & Ross is also a style house par excellence. Steel, trapezoidal, faceted, and black DLC-coated pin buckle, highly shatter-resistant and easily adjusted on the fly during periods of activity when your wrist might expand a little bit or during hot weather. You will note that the case itself, all in matte ceramic, has a low-glare sheen about it, and this is highly functional. There's an anti-reflective coating on the crystal. There is an anti-reflective matte black finishing to the base of the dial, and of course the entirety of the case is a matte black, once again, to resist glare. Stylized, romantic, vintage evocative, it's all of these things, but it's still a Bell & Ross Instrument Series watch, and thus highly functional. Now you will note that because ceramic is very light, the watch is comfortable on the wrist. It feels like a feather. Moreover, ceramic is hypoallergenic, so you're not going to have any allergic reactions. For example, if you have a nickel allergy, ceramic is an excellent choice. It gets better. Now, the timepiece features the same level of scratch resistance that you would find on a sapphire crystal. So if you're not one to shatter or fracture your sapphire crystals, there's a very good chance that this watch on your wrist is going to look as good as the day you purchased it 5, 10, 15, or more years hence. That's the advantage of ceramic. It is very hard and scratch resistant. Now, you can see it is a tripartite case. For the most part, the case top with the bezel, the mid case, and the case back. Simple, elegant, but not without its nuances. You'll note there is a small bevel that runs the full perimeter of the watch, handsomely tapering the sheer of the case flank and transitioning to the hood of the case. You'll note the iconic Bell & Ross quarter screws assembling the case, but also providing a noted element of mechanical flair and style. And then there's a small overhang on the four cardinal corners of the bezel. A thoughtful wrinkle, if you will, in the style of the watch, designed to keep you on your toes and remind you that Bell & Ross, built in Switzerland but founded on Parisian style, knows how to style. Now, moving from the minimalist, no-nonsense round bezel inboard, you can see that there is a sloped ray haut, and that begins the watch's use of a sort of ecru vintage-inspired simulated patina color. Now, it is modern luminova. It's not like a vintage radium or tritium fade, but just as mid-20th century aviation watches gradually take on that charming and warm radioactive lume hue as they degrade, this watch has that same hue, but the functionality of luminova. Now you can see that the dial base is a vintage-inspired twin register, as you would have seen in the middle of the last century. Chronograph seconds at center, minutes at 9, constant seconds with a minimally calibrated crosshair dial at 3 o'clock, and then there is a date. It's there and practical for when you need it, but with a small stepped aperture and a monotone date disc, it's not intrusive. It essentially disappears when you're not looking for it. There's an axis along the center of the watch, and it runs from 12 to 6. You can almost split the watch with perfect bilateral symmetry. It's very balanced. Giant hands, baton style for minutes, broadsword for hours. There will be a loom shot at the end of this video, and it will be superb. You note broad, blocky, and highly functional chronograph pushers allow you to activate the watch. I will wind this timepiece, and we will get a little bit of chrono action underway. The timepiece features a double row of knurling, as you can see on the crown itself. Plenty of small hobnails that make it easy to grip and turn, even if your hands are gloved as are mine. Starting up the chronograph, you can see the chronograph sweep seconds measures intervals as small as 1/8 of a second or as large as 30 minutes. Now the timepiece does have a crisp chronograph action. You stop with the same pusher that starts, you reset with the pusher at 4 o'clock, and underneath the caseback is a Bell & Ross automatic winding caliber BR0301, so smooth bidirectional action. There is no rotor wobble, and it has 37 joules, 42-hour power reserve, beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, so 8 times per second. It features hacking or stop seconds, and a quick set so you can rapidly correct the date should the watch run down or encounter an irregular length month. Now, even though this is an aviation-inspired timepiece, it is still 100 meters water resistant, and thanks to sophisticated seals, Bell & Ross achieves that using a crown that does not need screw down action. So it's an easy crown to manipulate even if your hands do happen to be wet, sweaty, or gloved, even as the watch is swimmable by virtue of 100-meter water resistance. This is a timepiece that is suitable for almost all occasions. Though stark, at the same time it has a historically inspired warmth and charm about it that makes it equally appealing for formal couture. This is a timepiece that appeals to all, fits on almost all wrists, and though inspired by the air, is equally at home on the ground. You can see this model and the entire Bell & Ross collection and learn more on our website, govbergwatches.com. As you can see, the romantic fade aesthetic of the BR0394 Heritage. Easily legible, true Luminova, a modern watch in every respect when the lights go down. Learn more on our website, govbergwatches.com.